Hello, and welcome to the stream. It has been a while since I've been out to stream, but I hope that's okay. Bun was originally planning on playing this, but this game, the topics, I suppose, mean a little bit more to me, so I decided that I would play it instead. Basically, this game is about a mortician, and if you don't know what that is, it's basically somebody who takes care of and investigates the bodies after somebody dies. And so this is actually a career path that a few of us were considering taking for a while. There was Rye is probably the most into it. Rye and Blaz are. They're both very curious about this kind of stuff, but I'm actually pretty curious about it too. I think it's a really nice thing to do, and there's not many people who are willing to go into the field for, I guess, obvious reasons, but I feel like it's a very important job. There was also Ariel. She was considering it too. She's kind of like me. She thinks that it's a very respectable thing to do for people. So we're gonna go ahead and get started into this. It should be a shorter stream today, just about an hour, but I wanted to give some attention to this one. Oh, are you picking up on my cursor? Don't know if you can see it or not. Let me wait a minute and see if it comes up, because I think you will need to see it. Let me make sure that that's set then, because it doesn't look like it is. Go here. Properties. Oh no, capture cursor is on, so my stream is just lagging behind. Okay, fine. That's cool. I just wanted to make sure that everything was working. Let's start a new game. September 14th, 10:15 a.m. There's a little character. From Matthew Jeffrey. Welcome, Charlie. Nice to meet you. My name's Matthew, and I'm mainly going to be the man who delivers the bodies to you and helps with some of the more heavy lifting. Ever hear that joke about a hearse driver? I'll tell it to you when I come by in a bit. Looking forward to working together. You'll enjoy working here. Amy's a sweetheart, but she runs a tight ship. Nothing you can't handle, I'm sure. She wouldn't have hired you otherwise. Cheers and good luck, Matthew J. Hello and welcome to our new funeral director. Hello everyone, I'd like to take the opportunity to introduce our new funeral director, Charlotte, or Charlie, as she recently told me she likes to be referred to. Charlie is a recent graduate who came highly recommended and is eager to begin her career with us here at Rose and Daughters Funeral Home. Please take the time to make Charlie feel at home within our little family. We'll have a nice catered lunch this afternoon so we can all get to know each other a little better as well. Sincerely, Amy Rose. Good luck. Hi. I guess my subject lines to you should start being a little more professional now that we're business professionals. I can't wait to get your reply so I can see your fancy new email signature. I love that you were able to land this gig straight after graduating. It sounds super cool. I didn't even know mom and pop funeral homes were a thing until now. Guess it's just not something I really think about that much. Yes, they are. We actually have one in town that we know people who own one. I should look more into this, learn more about your world and industry, because, as I said, you are now a very serious professional. Speaking of being a professional, my museum gig is amazing. I can't believe someone paid me to move to London, and not London, Ontario, serial killer capital of Canada, to work in a museum. Like, take that, everyone who said I couldn't get a job with an art history degree. I'll tell you more about it when we Skype. My stories require you to see my face, and that you hear my excellent British accent impression. I also signed you up for a funerals monthly newsletter. Consider it your graduation gift / I love you / I am super proud of you gift. Love you, love you, love you, Jen L. Is that our sister? Okay, it didn't say our last name. Oh, here's instructions. I missed this one. Well, you're new here, so it's probably best I explain where everything is. In your office/preparation room, you'll find your cremation station, cremulation, cremulator station, embalming station, and obviously, since you're reading this email, your desk and computer area. I know you have experience working with these stations, but please let me know if you have any questions. Oh. Can I still go back and read it? Okay. Hello, Charlie. Hope you settled in okay so far. Matthew should have dropped off your first body for you to work on. He said you were really friendly, and he's glad to have someone young and lively to work with. You'll get used to his sense of humor. Your first body is Mrs. Garcia, an elderly woman who suddenly died of a heart attack. The family has asked for a closed casket funeral, so no embalming or body preparation is necessary. The family seems a little bit more united than previous families we've dealt with. Strange how grief affects people differently. Perhaps having more time to say goodbye makes things a bit easier, if that's possible. That being said, although you will not be embalming Mrs. Garcia, I do think it's important to take the time to clean her body. Nobody is going to see her body, but I like to encourage my funeral directors to do this out of respect for the deceased and their loved ones. That's good. You'll find Mrs. Garcia in the prep room. So, we're just cleaning then. Cleaning her body, I think. Because no embalming and no body prep, so we're just cleaning her, I guess. Oh, special requests. Of course, we will be happy to oblige your request for no embalming in a closed casket. I'll ensure our funeral director receives your request. We're happy to be with Rose and daughters for my mother's funeral. We understand that there are usually procedures that must be followed in these situations, but if you could kindly not embalm my mother, that would be greatly appreciated. This is typically a religious thing that people do. Some religions believe that you need your organs for the afterlife, so they won't embalm. And we will proceed with a closed casket for the service. I just know she wouldn't have wanted her death to have any negative impact on the environment. Oh, and since she fought so hard to beat her heart disease and to live healthily, it would be a shame to have her final moments to be counter to the way she lived. Thank you for anything you can do to help us in this matter. Okay. Tips for good etiquette at a funeral. Thanks for subscribing. Each month we bring you a new newsletter featuring a topic pertaining to the death industry. This month is all about good etiquette for attending a funeral. I really can't believe we have to write this one out, but since we said we'll answer most of your popular questions, here we are, because this is definitely one of the most popular. Funerals are a hard time, and we respect that, but here are some quick and easy rules to remember for being respectful at a funeral. Generally, following the guidelines of don't be a jerk should work. Don't be on your cell phone. We understand you're busy, but this is a time and a place to disengage. If you have to be on your cell phone, don't do so inside the funeral home. Don't be loud and obnoxious. You can share happy stories, but other people are also grieving and working through their own healing process. Being quiet gives other people space they might need. Don't get drunk. Everyone can deal with their feelings in their own way. Just remember to be respectful when with grieving family and friends. Happy reminisce. Sometimes remembering happy moments and positive experiences with the deceased can be a productive part of the healing process. Give condolences. It's not easy knowing what to say to someone, but even a simple "I'm thinking of you" can go a long way. Dress appropriately. What this looks like will change based on the customs of the deceased and their culture, but always dress in a way that shows respect for the deceased and their grieving family. Give a gift or sign the registration book. This can be flowers or a nice card, but it's a thought that counts here. Sometimes this can even just be cooking dinner for the grieving family. Anything that shows you care and want to help them through the healing process is what matters here. Be kind and helpful. So this is our workplace's website, it looks like. Rose and Daughter's Funeral Home was founded by my grandparents back in 1956. The Rose family has proudly served the area since then, providing personal, affordable funeral services for all. I'm proud to have carried on my family's business for the last 36 years, working with the best and brightest funeral directors and grief counselors in the area. Please don't hesitate to reach out if you've recently experienced a loss and would like us to help you through this hard time. Here at Rose and Daughter's Funeral Home, we're committed to providing loved ones with the best and most affordable funeral services in the area. We offer a diverse range of personalized funeral service options to fit every need. Prices: burial with an open casket ceremony and reception, closed casket ceremony and reception. Okay, so those are just the different things. We also offer custom packages to suit every budget and need. Please do not hesitate to contact us with any questions. Okay. So there's the urns. This is obviously the cremation thing. I'm guessing this is the what do they call it? The cremulator station? I'm guessing that's like to put things like into urns and stuff maybe. And this is obviously the body area. This is the prep room where you will prepare bodies for burials and viewings. Because the family has requested a closed casket ceremony with no embalming, you're just going to clean the body. Click on the sponge and drag it over to the body to clean it. That's it, you're done. Mrs. Garcia will be sent to Mike, who will take care of dressing and putting her in the casket. It's time to go to Mrs. Garcia's funeral. You're responsible for taking care of the deceased body, but it is also important to pay respects to their loved ones. Huh. I wonder if that's common. Follow the arrow to head to the funeral parlor. She would have hated these paintings. She was so particular. Sorry. Yeah, at least she doesn't have to see them, I guess. That's... yeah, I guess. Yeah, I heard the family specifically said no embalming. I thought it was mandatory, like required by law, but I guess not. It's not. Typically, they do say that, but you can request against. Embalming weirds me out. Do those chemicals leach into the ground? It seems strange to be using a chemical that's known to cause cancer and putting it into the ground like that. Or in the sewer. That's what they do with leftover formaldehyde, right? Just pour it down the drain? At least embalming guarantees you won't be buried alive. Stop. Don't make me laugh right now. Mom, I'm hungry. When can we go? That's kids for you. I hate wearing pantyhose. My legs are so itchy, but it's always so cold in these funeral homes. I think I might actually miss those sweaters she used to knit for me now. We usually don't small talk a lot at these things. At least that's what I was always taught. Is there something else for me to do? Or do I just go back? Let them have their time, I guess. October 11th, 10:09 a.m. I wonder what morticians do when they don't have a dead person to take care of. From Jennifer Valentine. I'm so frustrated right now. Okay, so let me explain this in a bit more detail. A colleague and I were discussing the tight lacer's liver specimen we have here at the museum. It's from a woman who died in 1907, and the liver is tapered inwards, from what the doctor leading the autopsy believed was too tight lacing on the corset. It was fascinating because it's kind of a controversial topic. Tight lacing was super popular, and while people associated it with fainting or hysteria, it's actually been associated with viscerorhabdosis, which is when the organs fall to the lower part of the abdomen, which is super unsettling, but can also be caused by being pregnant. So, TLDR, corsets probably messed up some bones, but likely didn't condensation about my wardrobe that also implies I don't know what I'm doing. These are the kinds of things I specifically research, yet I'm treated like I know nothing about. I'm having a day, Charlie. Interesting. Oh. That was the second part. Can I rant for just a second? I'm so tired of hearing strangers, colleagues, anybody, get on my case for wearing corsets. I wear them under my blazer and over a nice blouse, so it's not like I'm dressing inappropriately, even though the dress codes are such sexist BS anyway. And, like, I hate how their misogyny gets veiled in fall concern. Jen, I'm just worried you're damaging your body. You know what corsets do to livers, right? Corsets don't do anything to livers. They're definitely not hurting me as much as your condensation is hurting my head. Ugh, sorry. I'm out of sorts right now. I'll send you another email in a bit when I've cooled off. I wonder who Jennifer is to us. Is she a friend? Is she a sister? I mean, she could be a girlfriend, but she's also moved to London, so maybe not. Alright. What to wear when you're attending a funeral from a different culture? We all know everyone wants to be respectful at funerals. Don't talk too loudly, be kind, smile, and refrain from making inappropriate jokes, at least around the grieving family. Hey, sometimes people do need a little bit of a pick-me-up during such hard times. Who are we to judge? And a big part of that is knowing what to wear. Roman Catholic funerals tend to lean more to the formal black attire rule, and it works for us. Did you know that this goes back to the days of the Roman Empire, where people would wear black as a symbol of mourning? Black isn't universally the symbol for mourning, though. And if you're attending a funeral that is from a culture that is not your own, it's important to understand this. Some colors have different meanings, and despite your best intentions, the wrong choice could mean accidental offense. For example, in Hinduism and in Chinese cultures, white is typically the color for funerals. For Islam, though, it's less about the color you're wearing and more about how modestly you're dressed. Refrain from wearing any elaborate jewelry and be respectful of your behavior. For Sikh funerals, color of the clothing isn't as important, as is dressing modestly and being able to appropriately sit cross-legged. Actually, being respectful is just the number one rule for any funeral, no matter what, really. Remember that, and please don't hesitate to ask what is and isn't appropriate to wear. If you're attending to support a friend, family member, or partner, this day is not about you, so be sure to do whatever you can to be as respectful and supportive as possible, even if that means not wearing what you're used to wearing to a funeral, or even if it means asking how you can appropriately show your respects. Hey there, Charlie. I was driving around the other day, taking our clients on their last trip around town, and I was thinking, did I ever tell you the first time I went to a funeral? I was a teenager, about to start university, and a friend of mine was killed in a car accident, totally out of the blue. Really tragic stuff, messed me and my friends up really good. But, so, the big day, we get into our best suits and dresses and packed ourselves into a few cars. There were a lot of us, so we had at least 3 different cars full of us, like clown cars, While we're in the procession going to the cemetery, somebody in our car got a phone call from a friend in a different car. Turns out some asshat driver who doesn't know not to get in the way of a procession drove through the intersection and smashed straight into our friend's car. Nobody was hurt, thank God, but can you imagine getting that call? Anyway, one of my friends in the same car as me, the one who got the phone call, hung up and started laughing, just laughing her ass off in a way that makes you not sure if they're really just crying or if they've gone fully off the deep end. And she laughed, and then we all started giggling, because, go figure, life is messed up sometimes, There's no moral, no point to that story, I guess. I just remembered it and wanted to tell you, because we work with death all the time, and I still get sometimes caught off guard by what that actually means. Oh, before you get any ideas, this has nothing to do with why I became a funeral director. That decision came totally later, and is nothing unremarkable. Somebody has to do it, and I have a strong stomach, so why not? I'll see you in a bit, Charlie. Hi, Amy. Please pass along our deepest thanks to you and your staff for the wonderful job they did with our mother's funeral. It was very lovely. Our family so rarely gets together. It was nice seeing everyone come out for such a beautiful service. My son never gets to see his family. Also, it was incredibly kind of you to let us bring our own food in. Getting to share home-cooked meals, sharing stories, being together, it meant a lot. So what I'm saying is, it was nice for everyone to be there like that, together in that way, and I know how much of that was due to the work of your staff, especially your funeral director. Thank you for making this difficult time easier for all of us. Just passing this message along. Thanks for the hard work, Charlie. Hi, Charlie. Here are the instructions for your next body. You did a remarkable job on the first one. The family was very happy with you. No small feat, of course. Pleasing a grieving family isn't exactly the most comfortable of jobs. Your next job is a man named Mr. Duval, an elderly man, died of old age. Nothing fancy, just a standard funeral with embalming. You can reach out to his daughter Lizzie if you have any questions. She's handling her father's passing as well as can be expected. As always, don't hesitate to ask me any questions. P.S. Please remember to wear proper embalming gear. Formaldehyde is extremely dangerous. I know I don't need to tell you, but my maternal instincts are hard to ignore. I promise I won't mother you too much. Well, just a little. Ask Matthew. He knows. Does this have anything different on it today? No. Okay. Traditional burials typically require embalming, which preserves the body and prevents it from decomposing as quickly. Unless the family requests otherwise, all traditional burials will use embalming. Let's start by cleaning the body. Click on the razor to shave. Okay. In order to break rigor mortis, you'll have to massage the body. Click and drag over the body to massage it. The eyes deflate once the body starts decomposing. Click and drag an eye cap into each socket to give it shape. To keep the eyes shut, you'll need to glue them. Click and drag the glue on each eye to shut it. The mouth sags and hollows once the body starts decomposing. Click and drag a cotton ball into the mouth to give it shape. To keep the mouth from opening, you'll need to suture it shut. Click and drag the needle and thread it over the jaw to close it. Click and drag the lotion over the body to moisturize it. This prevents the skin from drying out. See, there's a lot of care in this kind of job. Embalming involves removing blood and replacing it with preserving chemicals. Click and drag the scalpel over the neck to make an incision. And then you need this, right? Or no, you need the tubing first. Okay. Click on the cannula and drag it onto the carotid artery. This is how you'll get the preserving chemicals into the bloodstream. Is it this? Now you'll need to connect the embalming machine to the cannula. Grab some additional tubing and drag it. Hello? This? Over here? No. You'll need to connect the embalming tube to the cannula. Grab some additional tubing and drag it to the cannula. There we go. Just had to click specifically, I guess. Click the button on the embalming machine to turn it on. In order to evenly distribute the chemicals, you'll have to massage them through the body. Click and drag over the body to massage it. And they drain the blood at the same time. Oh, we got more. Click and drag the needle and the thread over the incision to close it. Hello! It's nice to meet you too. Thank you for coming to the stream. This game is called A Mortician's Tale, and it's basically about autopsy and stuff like that. And funerals and just generally what they do there. Almost done. You'll need to drain the organs of any remaining fluids. Click on the trocar, then click and hold on the abdomen until all liquid has been drained. And you're done. Mike will take care of Mr. Duval's makeup, as well as dressing and putting him in the casket. It's time to attend the funeral. Came out of nowhere. I mean, it always sort of does, doesn't it? Yeah, one minute you're laughing and having fun, then the next, poof, that person is gone. Just gone. Yeah, it's weird to think about for too long, like staring at the sun. I start to feel all fuzzy when I think about it. Yeah, so weird how our bodies just stop working like that. Yeah. I am from the United States. So strange not seeing most people wearing white. White? Yeah, I think it's different for different family members. I can't remember. I haven't gone to many traditional funerals, so mostly white, but, like, definitely not red, no matter what. It's the difference in culture that they talked about earlier. He always wanted to take his grandkids to the park, play catch. He loved playing catch. He threw a mean curveball, that's for sure. Yeah, kind of a type of medic. Not exactly a doctor, but yes. December 2nd, 10:22 a.m. Oh, we're getting this area prepped, so probably going to be cremating this time. LGBTQ funerals, respect. If you've been a long-time subscriber to our emails or follow us on social media, you've no doubt heard about the misgendering that transgender people are at times subjected to during their funerals. There have been notable situations where trans women have had their wishes overruled by their families and have had their hair cut and are buried under the wrong names and subjected to the wrong pronouns in their obituary announcements. We care a lot about this because we believe in treating every person with the level of compassion, respect, and care, and this absolutely extends to pronouns and respecting the deceased wishes in order as per their lived experiences. The CDC's Funeral Director's Handbook on Death Registration and Fetal Death Reporting offers the fraught directive. Enter male or female based on observation. Do not abbreviate or use other symbols. If sex cannot be determined after verification with medical records, inspection of the body, or other sources, enter unknown. Do not leave this item blank. Leaving it up to observation obviously enters into a world of issues since bodies can be so different, and because of ingrained biases, people can draw incorrect assumptions based on their own inaccurate observations. California has passed what is known as Respect After Death Act, which states that the death certificate must reflect the deceased's gender identity as they lived it, so a step in the right direction. People who are trans deserve the same respect in death that people who are cisgender receive. Misgendering in death takes away this respect. It can also inflict hurt and trauma on spouses and friends that survive the deceased. So, what can we do as funeral directors? Listen to the people who come into your office. In America, especially some marriages may not be recognized as legal depending on the laws around same-sex marriage. But this doesn't mean you're not dealing with two people who have loved each other the same way as another couple. Listen, learn, and always be respectful. While you have to work with the next of kin, your duty is also to ensure the deceased receives the utmost respect in their burial. Hi, Angelica. Thank you for coming to the stream. If a funeral is to honor the deceased, then do that. Honor them. Paycheck coming late. Sorry. Hi, Matthew. This is embarrassing, but it seems I miscalculated some of our income and don't have enough to pay you this week. Would it be terribly inconvenient if I cut you a check for next week instead? If you need the money urgently, please let me know. I feel terrible about this whole thing and could cut you a check from my personal account if need be. I'm so sorry about this. I assure you it won't happen again. Take care. I don't like the look of this. Not one bit. I know you've only been with us for a few months, but maybe you're aware of the trouble Amy has been having. A small mom-and-pop shop like Rose and Daughters can't compete with the bigger guys. Anyway, don't tell Amy I sent this to you. Also, I'm starving, so I'm gonna grab some fast food before taking the hearse to the car wash. 2 birds, 1 stone, and swinging back to the home. Do you want anything? A beef and cheddar? I'm going to take the hearse through the drive-thru, of course. It freaks people out. I love it. They get so awkward. Let me know. I'm heading out in 15 minutes. Charlie, I was doing some reading. I know you hate it when I try to give you dating advice. No, he didn't die. He is a worker at the funeral home. He's like our co-worker. So he drives it. He drives the hearse. Charlie, I was doing some reading. I know you hate it when I try to give you dating advice, but hear me out. There's this dating site specifically for people working in the death industry. Okay, so maybe I'm a little worried for you. You haven't mentioned anybody new since the breakup of 2014 that we will never speak of again after this moment. But you're always saying how tired you get of people being scared to ask about your day, so maybe meeting someone in the industry isn't the worst idea. Just promise me you'll consider it, okay? It's harder for me to make sure you're seeing sunlight when I'm all the way across the ocean. I know you look like a babe with pale skin and witchy gothy aesthetics are super hot right now, but vitamin D is still a good thing. Mom rant over. I'm going to try it out because it turns out people get super scared when you tell them you work in a museum filled with dead bodies. You know how not interesting other people find teratomas? Charlie, I didn't know we were this weird to outside people. I've been spoiled by having a best friend who is as much as a weirdo as I am. Miss you. Let's grab a bottle of wine for our next Skype date. P.S. If you sign up for Dead Meat, isn't that the best name for a death industry dating website? Tinder rules apply. You have to like me if you come across my profile or whatever. I'm just not sure how it works yet, though. Thank you for the wonderful evening you and your staff put together for my father's funeral. He wasn't always an easy man to get along with, but I'm glad to have seen him off in such a kind way. Passing on this lovely note to thank you. Hello, Charlie. Today's funeral is for a woman who died of breast cancer. Nothing fancy, just a standard cremation. Please don't hesitate to ask me if you have any questions. Okay, so now we're going to prep this next body for cremation. So we've done... What different funerals have we done so far? We've done one with no embalming. We've done an embalming patient with for a funeral, and this one is just cremation. So before we cremate Mrs. Hall, we'll need to prepare her body. Mrs. Hall's family brought clothing and jewelry for her to wear. It's important to remove these before the cremation process as to not damage them. Let's start by removing Mrs. Hall's necklace. We'll need to be able to identify Mrs. Hall's remains after she's been cremated. Click and drag the round identification tag and place it in the coffin. Great. Mrs. Hall is all set to be cremated now. So we're going to cremate her body. I don't think I've ever been to a funeral where they cremate beforehand, but maybe the funeral already happened? I'm not sure. Alright, there's the urn. This is the cremulator. Contrary to popular belief, cremation doesn't turn bodies into ash so much as bone fragments. Oh, really? Using the cremulator, we'll break these bone fragments down into ash-like remains. Let's start by placing the urn in the cremulator. Click on the urn and drag it to the cremulator under the nozzle. Click and drag the bone fragments and drop them into the top of the cremulator. I didn't know this is how it worked. Now that all the bones have been processed, click and drag the urn back onto the counter. Make sure to put Mrs. Hall's necklace back into the urn. Don't forget the tag. Last step, click on the urn's lid and drag it on top of the urn. All done. Amy will take the urn to the funeral parlor and present it alongside some flowers. She would have hated this music. She never wanted her funeral to be sad. She would have wanted us smiling. She said so. She fought really hard. She was proud of herself. She never gave up, not once. Glad she was cremated and not in an open casket or something. Seeing her like that, I don't know if I could have. At least we all got to say goodbye. She would have liked that. It is delicious. I know that's weird, but these crab cakes are perfect. Yeah, that is a little bit strange to say, but everybody grieves differently. February 14th, 10:14 a.m. Keep on protecting Earth with green burials. You've lived your life mindful of the environment, doing your part to reduce pollution and generally help out when you can. So why not continue doing that even in death? At least that's the thinking for a lot of people who are turning to green or natural burials. Natural cemeteries are becoming more popular and are focused on a few rules. Mainly, it's that bodies aren't allowed to be embalmed with chemicals that can damage the environment, and bodies must be buried in a biodegradable shroud or casket. Not only is this better for the environment, but it's also cheaper. At Union Cemetery in Ontario, Canada, a natural burial is just over $1,000. So better for the people, the environment, just maybe not as good for big business. Let's not forget, people, this still is a business after all. But really, why go green? Green burials help preserve natural resources, work to reduce carbon emissions, protect the health of those preparing bodies, and restore/preserve natural habitats. Embalming fluids tend to contain formaldehyde, and funeral directors report a higher incidence of leukemia. Going green and not using toxic chemicals for embalming helps protect funeral directors, while at the same time lessening the impact we have on the environment after we're gone. We here at Funerals Monthly think green burials are pretty cool. What do you think? Reply and let us know. Charlie, I've been playing a new game when things are slow at work. It's called Tales from the Crypt Sweeper. Get it? It's like Minesweeper, but way harder. Like, seriously, it's really, really difficult. And I thought my Minesweeper game was on point after working the grave so you don't disturb the ghosts. The main character also kind of looks like you. Want to start a healthy competition? High score gets to pick the restaurant we go to when one of us is in town next. Hi, Amy. I know this email might be a bit odd, but you said if I was ever having troubles, I could reach out, and you would know somebody I could talk to about all of this. I don't know what to do now. I know my grandmother has lived a full, good life and was very happy, and that she's not in any pain now, but I feel empty. Amy, I've never felt this empty before. What am I supposed to do now? I thought I was stronger than this. Can you refer me to someone to talk to? I don't want to freak out my mom right now. She's dealing with enough, with work and the will, and trying to just be the best mom she can. I just need somebody to tell me that it'll be okay. Thank you, and sorry for being an inconvenience. I thought I would like to forward this to you. In situations like this, we typically connect people like Ryan with a grief counselor or other professionals who can really help him. Sometimes we get emails like this when people don't know where else to turn. It's difficult, and the family isn't always the most reliable for some people. Usually I would be happy to connect him, but I'm feeling a little tired today, not my usual self, and it would be good for you to start building these kinds of relationships on your own. You're a treasure, Charlie. How do I do that, though? Hi, Amy. You asked me if there were any special instructions we wanted to pass along. Just please cremate my father. He has a pacemaker, too. The doctor told me that they would need to be removed. Thanks. Please see the note about the pacemaker. They can be tricky. Okay, I wasn't done yet. I'm so internally grateful that you were able to accommodate our request for my sister's funeral. It was a beautiful service, and she would have been happy with it. That's such a weird thing to say, isn't it? Thank you again from the bottom of my heart. Hi, all. It is with a very heavy heart that I write to let you know that Rose and Daughters will no longer be in business. I had no idea how to start this email, and resources I googled told me that would be the best and easiest way to break the ice. Be dry but remorseful, Google said. The truth is, I don't really know what to say. Since my father passed away, I've done my best to make Rose and Daughters warm and friendly to anyone who chose to use our services. It was my memorial to him, the original Rose in a lot of ways. And you've all become like family, including you, Charlie, our most recent addition. But it's been getting harder to make ends meet. Rent is going up in the neighborhood, and I'm finding less and less like I have the energy for this business. There's a lot of competition from other funeral homes, larger corporations than we are that can take on more business and offer more impressive services. You know the way it goes. So, we've been bought, or sold. Either way, soon, Hill Heritage Enterprises Incorporated, a company that owns many funeral homes in the city and across the country, will replace Rose and Daughters starting from the beginning of next month. Same building, same name. They're keeping the name Rose and Daughters Funeral Home for tax purposes. Though, honestly, I'm trying hard not to just see it as a move on their part to keep up the image that it's a family-run business. I don't know how I feel about that, but I also don't know if there's anything I can do at this point either. I've signed the papers. At least my father's legacy is still intact somewhat. They have a good reputation and have agreed to keep you all on. That was one of my stipulations. I would sell as long as you all weren't without a job. Sorry I didn't tell you in a more personal way. I would have loved to have company lunch, but I admittedly didn't have the heart to tell you in person. This was easier for me. Please understand. What is this? Oh. I disturbed the ghosts. Yeah, I don't know how to play this. Okay. Let's get to dealing with the body. It says he has a pacemaker, so we'll have to take that out first. Mr. Reyes came directly from the hospital, so we don't have to worry about removing any valuables from him, as the family did not provide us any to include. However, Mr. Reyes has a pacemaker that we'll need to remove before cremation. Because pacemakers are batteries, they will explode inside the hot heat of a cremation machine, and we definitely don't want that, yeah. Let's start by removing Mr. Reyes' pacemaker. Click their scalpel over the heart to make an incision. You can see the pacemaker. Click the forceps and drag out the pacemaker of the heart. Put the forceps away and place the identification card into the coffin. Mr. Reyes is all set to be cremated now. I wonder how many more cases there are on this. Using the cumulator, we'll break these bone fragments down into ash-like remains. I'm trying not to swing the bones. All done. Amy will take the urn to the funeral parlor and present it alongside some flowers. I always told him to quit smoking, but of course he never listened to me, so that figures. I wonder if he ever liked me. He was nice to me, but I don't know. He never seemed to, like he really cared if I was there or not. That's sad. What do you want to do after this? It's pretty nice out. Let's change and go find a patio somewhere? Sounds good. I could really use a beer right now. Hey, did I ever tell you the time we tailgated? Did you ever end up clearing the air with your father? No, we talked a few times, but no, not really. He sounded like a difficult man. He was stubborn. That's just it. Stubborn. February 28th, 10:35 a.m. Things to avoid saying at a funeral. Welcome back. Now, we rarely do listicles here, but for this month's newsletter, we thought a listicle would be the best way to deliver this month's advice. What not to say at a funeral. We know figuring out the right thing to say to a grieving friend can be extremely difficult, and since that's such a personal issue, it's hard to give specific advice. Some things will be more comforting to other people, but fortunately, we can deliver a little bit more solid advice on what not to say to someone who's grieving. So here it is, Funeral Monthly's top 5 things not to say at a funeral. At least they're no longer suffering. Even if that's true, nobody wants to hear this, and it's probably not your place to dictate. Who wants to be told that the death of somebody they love is for the best? Like I said, even if it's true, don't be that jerk and just don't say it. Were they saved? No religious statements. Just don't. Why? Because not everyone agrees with your religious views, and not only is it not always comforting, it can also be insulting. They're with the angels now. See the above's note, then rinse and repeat. Let me know how I can help. This one's tricky. You want to help, but those in mourning won't always ask you for help. If you want to help, suggest specific things. For example, I'm free if you need someone to babysit the kids. Actions are better than passive statements. Cook something for them. Take them to their favorite restaurant or buy tickets to see a movie together. I know how you feel. Even if you think you do, everyone grieves differently. Don't focus this on yourself. Your empathy doesn't involve having to commensurate. Some people will want to hear your experiences, but don't assume they will. Ask first. For a quicker version of this list that can be applied to any situation, don't say stuff just for the sake of saying stuff. Just say I'm sorry if you don't know what else to say. You hate mushrooms so much, I found the perfect thing for you. I've been thinking about death. I know, shocker. Look what you've done to me. I think I want this mushroom suit. No, it's not called that, but I can't remember the name of it, and I'm writing to you on my phone, so I don't feel like Googling it right now. Anyway, the idea is that it's a biodegradable suit that the deceased wears. It's made with what people call a biomix, i.e. mushrooms and other microorganisms that help to decompose the body, neutralize toxins in the body, and provide nutrients for the soil for plants. I think this one company even offers casket liners for use in green caskets. I think this is what I want. It'll be just like Hannibal. Wait, don't tell people I said that, okay? But seriously, it's pretty cool. I love all the death innovation happening. We might as well do something while we're in the ground, you know? Love you. Think about it, and let me know your thoughts. I want all your thoughts. If it's not this, then maybe I'll have my ashes made into jewelry. But seriously, I'm probably gonna do this. There's no harm in planning ahead, am I right? Disregard our son's will as it concerns matters of his burial. He was clearly not thinking right and didn't know what he really wanted. Proceed with an open casket funeral. As for payment, we'll bring a check. No. Charlie, I was hoping you wouldn't have to confront the situation, yet anyway. They're never easy. Rose and Daughters has been asked to prepare a body of a young man who took his own life. He had a will and prepared and asked for cremation, but his family demanded a traditional burial instead. Unfortunately, he didn't make anyone his power of attorney, or didn't have any witnesses sign his living will or his advance directive regarding these wishes, so his family is legally in the right to do whatever they wish to his body. It's unfortunate, but we have to do as his family wishes. Matthew had graciously offered to take this on if you're uncomfortable with the subject. Instead, we have a second body you can prepare for a funeral we're hosting later in the afternoon. Charlie, is this suicide something you're comfortable dealing with? Let me know. I'm here if you need me. No, I'm not doing that. Hi, Amy. Just wanted to thank you for the service the other month, and apologize if I was abrupt. It kind of shocked me, and I didn't feel comfortable with the whole process. He wasn't supposed to die yet. It hasn't been easy. Yeah, no. We're gonna do the other body, because it's not okay to disregard the wishes of the deceased. The deceased's family has asked for an open casket funeral. Let's start by cleaning the body. So this is Mrs. Rossi. Break rigor mortis. Insert eye caps, which are a little bit gruesome, but they are a part of it. This part's a little bit gruesome as well. For some reason, this part is less gruesome to me. The, like, actual, embalming and bulbing stuff. It's this. And then... oh, massage the body. Whoops. I really like this game has, like, actual specifics, but does it in a very open and respectful way. All done. Mike will take care of Mrs. Rossi's makeup, as well as dressing and putting her in the casket. I wanted to see if we got a letter about her death, maybe. Okay, she just said, no, I'm not comfortable. Okay. Where is Maria? She couldn't be here. She didn't want to see her mother's body. I mean, I don't blame her. Anyway, I'm pretty impressed with the food. Did you try the amaretti? What is with people, like, being weird with the food? Doesn't look like her at all. She's crying. I haven't cried since she died, not once. How is Anna crying and not me? I'm the one who lost a parent. People grieve differently. It's okay if you don't cry at a funeral. She's no longer suffering or in pain. Yeah. She was too good for this world. Okay, thanks, Aunt Sandy. That was a little bit of a faux pas there, but... March 3rd, 10:45 a.m. I'm coming. Different funeral traditions. Funeral rites, even our own culture, may be something many of us may be unfamiliar with. For many people, all they know of funeral traditions are what they've seen in media. But I think this goes without saying, funeral rites and traditions aren't the same across the board. Different cultures have different protocols for cleaning the body to different aspects of the service itself. Religion provides different paths for people dealing with a death, but the goal is always the same, offering support, guidance, and ease to the people who are grieving. In Judaism, interment usually begins immediately after someone has passed. Up until a burial, the body is never supposed to be alone, so families will appoint a shomer, a guardian, to remain with the body. Preparations for burial begin as soon as possible in Muslim traditions as well. Local Islamic community organizations are also often involved and help the family make arrangements for the funeral service and burial. But not all practices are strictly religiously focused, begin to shrink drastically, causing a law to be passed that requires families to remove a loved one's body from its burial place after 60 years. Many families begin to cremate more often, but there are also companies that compress remains into beads in turquoise, pink, or black, called death beads. This also occurs in North America, Europe, and Japan, but remains much more common in South Korea because of the space issue in graveyards and the expenses of cremation. And not all practices are somber either. Ever heard of the turning of the bones, or Famadahana, a ritual by the Malagasy people of Madagascar? Famadahana has families return to an ancestral crypt, exhume the bodies wrapped in cloth before dancing with the bodies to lively music. The practice is a celebration, remembrance, and way of keeping the deceased involved in family news. That's interesting. Death can be a difficult time for many people, obviously, but that doesn't mean there isn't a beauty in the ways we choose to honor and celebrate the deceased. Come increase awareness of death with a view to helping people make the most of their finite lives. Join us, have a tea and cake, and talk with others about our thoughts, fears, and illuminations on death. The founder of the Death Cafe movement, John Underwood, once said, "When people talk about death and dying, it tends to illustrate their humanity." See everyone at the Upside Down Jar next Thursday. Can't really write much now. I have a lot to work to do with an inguinal hernia from 1750. It's the oldest in our collection, and you can even see this bit of paper the surgeon put in after removing the hernia. Super cool. I'll send you the link when I have it cataloged. What is my life? What is that sentence I just typed? But anyway, this event that I'm forwarding you is taking place near you. Figured you'd be into it. Might help with the feeling of restlessness you were talking about before. Could be good to talk to people about some of the things you're feeling. Lots of death-positive people there. Sounds like a safe place. Thank you, Mr. Grant, for agreeing to take care of Jocelyn's cremation. The bike accident was, well, it was more than I was expecting. I know she wanted to be cremated, and to be honest, I don't think I could bear seeing her like that after what happened. Charlotte, below are the details of our next client. Ensure you follow the requested specifications exactly. After you're done, I will review your work in order to properly evaluate you at the end of the month. Can I just say, first off, that this is bullcrap. Knowing this, how these corporations run, I wouldn't be surprised if they're monitoring our emails now. No, okay, I don't really believe that. I'm just upset. I get that Amy doesn't have much of a choice. You can only fight a huge corporation taking all your business for so long. This isn't 6 feet under. And they just swooped in, and now we have to deal with their BS practices. They're colder than the corpse I picked up from the morgue this morning. Who charges this much for funerals? It feels dirty and exploitive. Let's grab a drink after work. I need to blow off some steam, and emails aren't really the most appropriate place for me to do this. Too late, I guess. We are pleased to bring on Rose and Daughters as part of Hillside Heritage Enterprises. They will be another institution among hundreds of properties owned across the country, but we expect them to be followed impeccably. Glad to be leading the way for Rose and Daughters from now on. Rose and Daughters is the newest funeral home to join the Hillside Heritage, proudly serving 56 different communities nationwide since 1964. Rose and Daughters features several available packages for burials and cremations, a spacious visitation suite for added comfort, and catering available on site. Rely on your dedicated and friendly staff to help you with your funeral needs, whether you need our immediate assistance for a loved one or would like to pre-plan your own final arrangements. We offer many packages fitted to suit every size of gathering and budget. Ask about our selection of caskets, urns, and headstones, the largest in the country. Doesn't say the prices or anything that he mentioned. Prepare Miss Ionesco's body for cremation. Remove her watch and place it on the tray. Identification tag in. That's all. I wonder if you're actually supposed to stay in here while the body is being cremated. Using the cremulator will break down the bone fragments. It's the same as it usually is. Oh. Doesn't let me pick up that bone for a second. Oh, do the watch first and then the tag. All done. Matthew will take the urn to the funeral parlor and present it alongside some flowers. It's sad that Amy doesn't do it now. It changed since they went to different management. Should we do a vigil at the spot? Careless drivers, I swear to God. She was always so careful. Wore her helmet, signaled, used the bike lanes. Asshole drivers, they need to pay attention. Have you heard what's happening to the driver? No, I haven't wanted to ask Leah. This has been hard enough on them without having to ask about legal ramifications of all of this. Yeah, after all this, let's see what we can do to help. Shouldn't deal with the death of their partner all by themselves. I'm glad I'm here, but wow, I just need a glass of wine and to binge watch something right now. I have to go through all her things. How am I supposed to decide what to keep? If you need help, I can help. No. Thanks, but no. I don't know. It's so intimate. Feels like I should do it myself. She would kill me if others saw the things we have. Yeah, she was kind of a closed book. Except to you. Yeah, she was special. So glad it was a cremation. I would have lost it seeing her body. Yeah. Closed caskets tend to be easier to handle. But I think I like the closure more of having it open. March 24th, 10:30 a.m. Oh, she's watering her plant. Home funerals. Why do it? The appeal of a home funeral is apparent for many, especially if the deceased was somebody very close to you. The idea of keeping them at home until they're ready to be buried or cremated can be comforting. It wasn't long ago that we were taking care of our own deceased, but nowadays people are quick to pass off their loved ones to a funeral home. Most families aren't given the option, and assume that this is mandatory. Funeral homes will almost always prepare the deceased using embalming and other methods to make them appear more alive, but isn't this process counterintuitive to the grieving process? Being around the deceased allows the bereaved to spend a longer period of time with their loved one's body, which can help them mourn or give opportunities to family members and friends to see the deceased one last time, before they're taken to be buried or cremated. The idea of keeping the deceased body at home might sound gross, but it's important to understand that decomposition takes a long time, and you can further slow this process by keeping your home cool and dry. To be around your loved ones and see them decay naturally is an important part of the grieving process. Home funerals aren't just more intimate, but they are economical. A traditional funeral, complete with body preparation, service, flowers, cards, and many other hidden costs and fees, can be upward of $7,000 to $10,000. When you're able to take care of your loved ones yourself, to wash and dress them, and to organize their viewing from home, the only cost remaining is entirely the cremation or the burial itself. However, it's important to understand that different rules apply given on what state you live. In all states, it's legal to have your loved one's body at home after they die. Some states require a funeral director's involvement, from signing a death certificate to overseeing burial or cremation. If this is a route you decide to go for yourself or your loved one, make sure you follow everything by the book, but just know that this is maybe an option available to you and your loved ones if you so choose. Hello, Fishman. The caps are fine. Don't worry about it. I just saw a video of a gorilla walking on its hind legs, like a human being, Charlie, a human being. We as a species have seen the beginning of our end. I am proud to announce that Hillside Heritage Enterprises received a contract with the city to dispose of any unclaimed bodies. This is an important revenue stream for us, as I'm sure I don't need to explain to you. Although Hillside Heritage Enterprises is paid a decent wage from the city for these services, cremation is preferred here as it is the most cost-efficient of the two options. The first unclaimed body we will be handling belongs to a middle-aged man, possibly homeless, whose body has yet to be claimed. No special preparations are needed for this cadaver, aside for cremation. Hello, Charlotte. I have reviewed your request on behalf of a potential family inquiring if we can and will perform green burials. I should have informed you of this in the beginning, but we do not perform green burials as they are not cost-effective. All employees and subsidiaries of must comply. We do not wish to lose potential customers, though, so do try your hardest to convince the families requesting green burials to instead choose a traditional burial package. Instead, I trust you will ensure we not lose any customers. I hate this guy already. As stated in a previous email, here are the new rules and code of conduct I expect you to follow now on while on any premises belonging to Hillside Heritage Enterprises. First and foremost, there is a required uniform and strict dress code from now on. Second, most importantly to this, is that no tattoos are to be visible. If you have visible tattoos, ensure they are properly covered and hidden. When speaking with customers and clients, consider the opportunity to upsell. Always encourage the deceased loved ones to purchase the high-quality pack style of the deceased as an experience with no price limit on it. Additionally, food is no longer allowed to be brought in. Instead, encourage the deceased loved ones to purchase our premium sandwich and appetizer food package. Our partner Catering Concepts provides high-quality food that will be delivered weekly from their factory and can be easily defrosted the morning of the funeral. This guy is a piece of shit. I expect all of the above changes to be instituted, effective immediately, to ensure a smooth transition into high-quality services. Charlie, I need a drink. Beer after work. P.S. I also really want mozzarella sticks. I can be both hungry and angry. And no, I will not say hangry. Ever. I hate Chad. Of course his name's Chad. Sucks so much. Before we cremate this gentleman, we'll need to prepare his body. He doesn't seem to have any valuables on him that would be damaged during cremation, so let's just worry about putting an identification tag into the coffin with him. This gentleman is all set to be cremated now. I guess we would have checked for, pacemakers or anything like that beforehand. Or she wouldn't have. Charlie wouldn't have. The other people would have. Using the cremator, we'll break down the bone fragments into ash-like remains. I hope we're able to get this, like, business back to Amy, because I hate the corporation. Trying to upsell to grieving families is so gross. All done. Matthew will take the urn to the funeral parlor and present it alongside some flowers. I guess she kind of always covered up tattoos. Oh, I forgot there wouldn't be people here. It's unclaimed. April 9th, 10:19 a.m. Alright, I'm coming, computer. Water everywhere, and not a drop to drink. Water cremation. We can call it a few different things, like flameless cremation, a bit of an oxymoron, but we'll let it slide, or perhaps more commonly, resimation. Its technical name, though, is actually alkaline hydrolysis. Whatever we want to call it, it's here and it's an environmentally friendly alternative to traditional cremation. But for the sake of this newsletter, let's call it water cremation. We all know that traditional cremation and burials take a huge toll on the environment, the high energy consumption that adds to the greenhouse gas effect being one of the chief amongst them, and water cremation is an alternative method available for the eco-conscious among. How does it work? It's basically a water-based chemical process that uses really strong alkali water and heated up very high. It basically works like a sped up version of natural decomposition. The excess water gets put through the same water treatment process as any sewage water at a factory, and alkaline hydrolysis uses significantly less energy than traditional cremation processes. Neat, huh? It's been around for a bit, and in some places became legal around the end of the first decade of the aughts. Not a bad alternative for those who don't want their death to have any greater impact on the environment than necessary. I kissed her. Dinning is special effects makeup artist, and she is like the coolest person I've ever met in life. She totally loves Ava's possession and was equally freaked out by the possession scenes. You've lost your taste. But yeah, her name is Lily, and she's super death positive and isn't freaked out by my work, but also isn't too into it like the last dude I saw. Jason? Michael? God, I can't remember. I just really like spending time around her. I can talk about whatever I want, and it's never a conversation stopper. She also totally gets what I mean when I say that, like, working with death and spending so much time thinking about death actually makes me happier. It makes Everything else feels so much more worth it, you know? Memento mori, or whatever they taught us in that one poetry class we took. We just clicked. Feels good. Fun and affirming, like dating should be. I was thinking of taking her to Maple Meadows. She's super into roller coasters, and I think the idea of sharing cotton candy, or maybe not, I don't want to throw up on the rides, is sickeningly cute. Then maybe I'll kiss her on top of the Ferris wheel, be super corny and cliche, for once in my life. Anywho, enough for me about now. I'm still kind of in shock from your last email. Do you think you're going to do it? You know you have my support, 100%, no matter what you decide. She must be thinking of leaving. Charlie, it's official. I've put in my 2 weeks' notice. You know how unhappy I am working for Mega Corporation 101. My skills, especially my driving ones, are useful in other professions, and I'm not worried about myself. But I am worried about you. You're too good for this corporate scum. You actually care about the people you work for. Don't let them defeat you, okay? P.S. I'll bring over beers next week. We can talk a bit more freely. Regarding the last time we spoke, my daughters and I would still prefer to host a home funeral ourselves and keep my wife here until she's ready to be buried. I just want to make sure she's taken care of. Her heart attack was so sudden. We don't know what to do. We just want to make sure she has a proper send-off. I understand your desire to keep your wife at home, but I assure you the best way to honor your wife is through a traditional funeral package instead. Fuck you, Chad. I promise you your wife's funeral with us will be a beautiful, intimate gathering where all of her beloved friends and family can come together and say their goodbyes. A standard embalming will allow for everyone to view your wife, ensuring that everyone can see her one last final time as she was, beautiful, peaceful, and courageous. Letting us take care of the food with our prepared food service will ensure you don't have a single thing to worry about on the day. You and your daughters are going through a hard time right now. Let us here at Rose and Daughters make this difficult time easier for you. Okay, we'll take the traditional funeral package. Thank you for considering us in this hard time. Charlotte, I see you were not able to convince the Dimka family to take a standard funeral. I had to contact them myself in order not to lose this sale. Please read the enclosed emails for a lesson on how to properly upsell potential customers. I don't want to see that we've lost any customers because of your refusal to upsell. That's part of your job. I'm not responding. We are thrilled to announce the Hillside Heritage Enterprises subsidiary just in a contract with Morning Valley Hospital, allowing us to access all of the cadavers that come through their pediatric and maternity wards. We're excited for the opportunity to work with Morning Valley Hospital, which intakes over 100,000 patients and receives over $15 billion in funding and donations annually. This will no doubt be a boom for Hillside Heritage Enterprises' bright and sustained future. Oh. She's thinking of making her own business. Good for her. How do I refuse? I can't? That sucks so bad. The deceased family has asked for an open casket funeral. Let's start by cleaning the body. Eye caps. Shape the mouth. Close the mouth. And then we lotion the body. Make an incision. I'm trying to see if I can remember all this myself. Tubing, right? And then this. And then more tubing. Was I not right about that? Okay. And massage the body as we do it. And now we need this. And we need to use this to drain the organs. And then I think that's the last step. Oh. Didn't keep it there long enough. All done. Who's Mike? Mike's new. Oh, he must have replaced Matthew. I'm starving. Why do these things always make me so hungry? You're always hungry. Grief can also do that. This feels so impersonal. She would have hated this. Yeah, but I don't know. They must have had their reasons. Oh hey, what did you think of the trailer I sent you? Oh yeah, I heard that show is so good. I saw the video of one kid actor doing karaoke. It's so cold in here. I think they have the air conditioning on too high. Yeah, let's go for a walk later. It's really nice out. Would be good to stretch my legs. Well, they kind of have to keep it cool. Do you think we did the right thing? I feel bad for not doing what Mom asked for. I know, honey, but what that Chad guy said seemed right. We don't want to dishonor her memory by letting her rot. Yeah, I just want Mom to know I loved her. I wish I hadn't yelled at her before. Shh, it's okay. She knew you loved her. Fights happen. Please don't be hard on yourself. Yeah, I'm gonna miss her. Me too. Ugh. This feels gross. I mean, I know we technically didn't do anything, but we're still working under Chad. August 30th, 9 a.m. Oh? Is this going to be our business? From Eileen Hansen. Dear Charlie, today's the day already, isn't it? I can't believe how quickly this has come up. Thank you for your understanding and your work. You've made today easier. See you at 1 p.m. Congratulations on your new business. Charlie, I'm so happy for you. I know it's been a rough year for you, seriously. I think all of our wine intake saw a bazillion% increase, but you've stuck through it like a champ. You deserve this. Finally being your own boss is a great move for you. No more having to explain anything you don't want to. I'm trying not to be too cheesy right now. Can't wait to be home next week for our visit and to check out your new space. Hey, Charlie. When I first became a hearse driver, I was told my most important job wasn't steering, it was sympathizing. I respectfully disagree, and thankfully I concentrated on my driving skills, since I'm now working as a, wait for it, bus driver. A school bus driver, Charlie, can you believe that? Pretty sure I said the most important job in my life now wasn't steering. I'd be fired immediately. I didn't know how else to tell you. For some reason I was worried you'd think less of me, but I don't know why. You've never been the judgmental kind, and besides, corpses are way easier to deal with than children. Screaming children, might I add. I actually love it. The kids can be pretty cute, but don't tell Amy I told you that. She was always harping on me for not having any kids and being all cynical about them. Congrats on the new business, Charlie. I'm proud of you. I'll swing by your new place one day and show you my new wheels. Maybe we can grab a bite to eat. Charlie, dear, I'm so proud of you. I knew there was something special in you when I hired you for Rose and Daughters. If there's anything I can do for you, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm always happy to help. Best wishes, Amy Rose. P.S. I sorely miss you and Matthew's terrible sense of humor. And this must be our website. Magnolia Forest Funeral Home and Natural Burial Park. Magnolia Forest, named after the magnolia trees that surround the funeral home, specializes in at-home funerals and green burials in our natural burial park. Our goal is to empower families and encourage them to have a closer relationship with death and the dying process. The death of a loved one can be a confusing and sometimes traumatic time, and we want you to feel fully involved in your loved one's death care decisions. Whether you're looking to care for your loved one from the comfort of your home, be present during the cremation, or bury them in our natural cemetery, Magnolia Forests is here to work with you and provide these simple but intimate and meaningful options. Our natural burial park allows the body to return to the earth and recycle naturally. It is intended as an environmentally sustainable alternative to an existing funeral practices. Our park has rooms for bodies of all sizes and ages, as well as beloved pets. Aww, you could be buried with your pet. Families also have the option to bury their loved ones themselves if they choose. We believe in being transparent about all our prices and practices. We are happy to explain all our prices, work within your budget, and hope to make you feel comfortable and confident in your decisions. Let us know if we can answer any of your questions. Home funeral, green burial and service, direct cremation. Infants are buried at no charge. We can provide 3x3 plot and help opening and closing the grave. This hurts. I thought it'd be easier, but it's not. It hurts so much, but thank you for helping me give her the funeral she always wanted. Anyway, I think we're ready to get started now. That was a nice game. I like the ending. I'm glad that she got to start her own thing and didn't have to be with the corporations. And sadly, that is something that people deal with. You know, like, people, businesses and corporations specifically, not just your average person, but I guess your average person can be too, tend to be very exploitative, especially when things are mandatory, like funerals, hospital visits, medications. That kind of stuff is very exploitative in nature a lot of times, just because corporations find that it's necessary, so they can kind of get people to give them more money, unfortunately. I wonder if I got all the achievements in the game. Kind of curious. Let me see. Go to my games. I did not. There was another one that I didn't get. There's only one that I didn't get. I'm guessing it's probably if you take on the other case. Let me see. Let's see what we missed. Oh, no, it's Crypt Sweeper Keeper. I can't play that game. It's too difficult. Oh, you can change the colors and stuff. I didn't realize that. Could change font size. That's helpful for people who need it. Like with vision stuff. Okay. I guess that is the end of A Mortician's Tale. Thank you for kind of coming on that little journey with us, and we will see you tomorrow for 1 Bit Heart. Goodbye.